This cop didn't know there was a camera. This is what he did. An unfortunate white man stormed out of his Craig Ranch cottage in early June. During our conversation, he became angrier about 3 years ago. He said he was receiving death threats, threatening his daughter and son, the Texas Rangers, to open suspicious packages on his lawn. Friends say they have seen pictures of her children with targets online. He doesn't want that to happen. Like most of the townspeople I interviewed for this story, he refused to give me his name for fear of further intimidation. I'm from McKinney. A Dallas suburb was made famous by a viral video in 2015 showing a white police officer beating an unarmed black boy outside the Craig Ranch community pool. Fearing the reaction of the residents, I started knocking on the door. My concern is real. When I asked for information, the man's wife burst into tears. The pair said there was a concerted effort by Black Lives Matter and Anonymous to portray the city as racist. It is just a mistake. He said, the woman sobbing inside. Be strong, he shouted. Less violent clashes between individuals of color and police have taken place in recent years, as does the McKinney video. For example, a white woman was filmed calling the police to arrest a black child selling water on the sidewalk in San Francisco last month. In another case, a white woman from Oakland called police about 2 black men having a charcoal grill in an unapproved park. A black Yale student was awakened by police when another student reported that she had slept in a shady place. Lots of police. Excessive use of force went unpunished in 2016. A former South Carolina police chief dragged a black student across the floor without being charged. A common dilemma in explaining these viral racial flashpoints is when something hints at a larger social problem and when it is simply what one person means, which others see as a sign of a community driven by deep economic and racial divisions. My parents moved to McKinney, an hour north of Dallas, in the early 2000s because of the low cost of living, excellent schools, and job opportunities. Faith was a postage stamp for our prayers spoken on one of the many sides of the church outside my parents' home on a recent weekend. Even my skeptical immigrant father seemed to like the idea. We paid $139,000 for our first big house like Craig Ranch. Our community is located west of McKinney. The West has long been called the Good Side and the New White Side. The West Side has been divided into forest communities such as Hidden Creek and El Dorado Lakes. Plenty of manicured gardens and homes built on the west side of the residence, only the pool helps beat the North Texas summer heat. Others are repaired with plywood and corrugated metal. In 2009, as these cities transitioned to affordable housing, 86% of the western region was white, compared with 49% of the east. The complaint alleges that all good audiences and most owners willing to accept a Season 8 coupon are on the east side. Payday lenders and bail bond dealers abound on the east side. There's nothing but on the west side with a picture of mom talking about the town lake. Money magazine named McKinney the best location in America for 2014. The following year, The Incident, as Wikipedia calls it in conservative media, advertised a barbecue on Twitter on season Fridays. Summer. Teen party at Craig Ranch. Some people here think that teenagers don't do any good because they are called slang for a perfect woman. Rhodes declined to comment, not knowing how many children have hired East Side residents, although some do not live at Craig Ranch. Residents said revelers were hit hard with the obscene language. Some teenagers claim that a neighbor ordered a group of mostly black youths to return to your accommodation in Area 8 and to the streets where an adult woman slapped her. Then she challenged it. The teenagers quickly made their way to the adjoining pool, which was fenced off and allowed only 2 people to visit each. There was no flashy partying, so the teenagers started jumping the fence to get to the pool. Some individuals first contact the police for trespassing, then toss objects into cars and fight. When Eric Casebold arrived, he took a lot of black kids and shot a guy. Then he put a black girl on the ground, sat on her back, and shouted for help. Jerry, a Becton, received $100, $48,850 as part of a settlement from the white man who assaulted his black guardian. It's a beautiful city, but it has a stinging community of its own, the head of McKinney, TX said. Some activists intend to keep the case and scandals on display. Attention. One activist said, we will not let go until justice is done. Most residents of Craig Ranch when responding have closed or politely refused to speak. It's in the past. I don't want to open up old wounds. One man said that a couple happily told me they got their home because of all the other offers backed out after the incident. A man who identified himself as Chris said it was both parties' fault. The police overreacted, but the party is illegal, he said. In the early 20th century, public swimming pools were abundant, but many segregated cities privatized them. People in McKinney, TX who are not part of a homeowners association can use the city's public swimming pools. Are you saying I shouldn't be here? Because I don't live here. A pastor from a former black church asked before the services began. Mayor McKinney is trying to improve access to pools on the west side of town. Inclusive Community Project found 90 Dallas area properties that refuse to lease to voucher holders. I saw in Section 8 that housing is the value of property, and I also see what it does for schools. One man said the president of Inclusive Communities said that McKinney wasn't the only one who was against affordable housing. 8 surveys of 1,901 market-priced properties in Collin County, Texas found only 12% are available to families with good housing options. McCain recently told me that I didn't expect the pool party to have a big impact. I do not believe that. McCain said opening West McKinney to low-income households, many of whom are people of color, could help improve race relations in the community. She observes that in most cases there is resistance to affordable housing. Fades out after tenants have entered. Those who fear us might know us as a human if we live together more, she said. In May, Dajerria Becton's attorney, Kim T. Cole, told the Dallas Morning News I wouldn't call the mayor a racist, but he was definitely singing the song. It happened after Cole and Dominique Alexander, an activist, had a fight with the mayor of McKinney, a local builder named George Fuller. During a press conference, Fuller phoned Eric Casebolt, a reckless police officer who was very excited and used excessive force in an email to Alexander. But also mentioned a rebellious girl verbally cursing at the pool party. It makes no sense for this mayor to go out today and say that this girl abused this police officer's word by making excuses for his behavior, Cole pointed out at the time. In a recent interview at his office, Fuller confirmed this portrayal of Becton and other teenagers. In these cases, the officer used unnecessary force, he said completely. However, the police were not called due to the presence of black people in the pool. They come for individuals. For trespassing, damaging property and smoking marijuana. Homeowners who contacted police saw the teenagers smoking marijuana. According to Fuller, the teens denied using drugs or alcohol, and neither the 911 call from the pool nor the police report mentioned any drugs. Co threw a pool party at the Apex Center a few weeks ago to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of the incident by telling reporters she wanted to throw McKinney's youngsters a pool party they do not have. According to reports, Becton and other teenagers participated in the settlement, but did not attend. Fuller told me I'm not a fan of this celebration. Can you tell me what we celebrate and celebrate about the pool intrusion? Do we welcome the police's excessive use of force? Do we welcome bogus claims of prejudice and racism in McKinney, TX? Fuller said the event was not racially motivated and did not represent the community. Fuller, who has an adopted black daughter and he is white, believes the community is free of racial conflicts. After reviewing the body cam video, a black city council member alleges that the police treated him unfairly during a traffic check. But after watching the video, the council member admitted he was partly responsible and apologized. Of course, racial prejudice exists according to Fuller, but it exists worldwide. Not just at McKinney. Since the event, Fuller said the city has made progress in having police patrol the eastern areas on bicycles and on foot to build relationships with the community, and that the police department is now fully operational. Has a dash cam. According to Alexander, police officers interact with members of the public at events such as Bentet with the police and Coffee with the police. According to Alexander, the activist inappropriately threatened him in a council session and the mayor finished taking care of him. He and other Alexander opponents have talked about his shady legal history. To him, Alexander was a circus clown and an alcoholic celebrity trying to keep himself fit. Alexander admitted that he threatened to release information to the media regarding the council members' conflicts of interest, but claimed he did so in an acceptable manner. He said he learned from his legal problems and wasn't looking for fame. He believes the city has not done enough to combat regional segregation and police discrimination. He wants to see more public gatherings as well as a McKinney equity study. I swore in 2015 that I would keep working to fix this so McKinney could live up to what he constantly brags about, that it's the best place to live in America. He told me I passed through the secure pool gate in the video before leaving McKinney to talk to families while their kids talked about how you ended up here. When I introduced myself, A white guy in a cap pointed out that he doesn't trust the media and thinks people are being vilified just for voting for Trump. The policeman was tough on a sad woman. There was an uproar, but this girl went from punk to victim. He said he visited the Blue Lake, the well-maintained fountain and park outside Black Lives Matter, which he considers a terrorist group, which introduced him to the community in a light. Negative. Alexander is a racing scammer. You would call me a racist because I worked to get what I got, he growled. It was an argument. The white woman sitting next to her said she was worried her family would be put in her son's school. Mainly black. There are armed people and people who won't put up with it. The guy in the baseball camp warned of trouble strikes. I walked around the pool to see other white couples taking a dip in the water with their kids because they were worried about their jobs. They give me fictitious names. The guy gently patted me, saying it was the most diverse neighborhood we've ever lived in. He went on to explain that the events say nothing about the region. Him, McCain, and pretty much everyone I spoke to seemed to agree on one point. This event is not unique to McKinney. It can happen anywhere. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video on social networks. We will be back as soon as possible.